Hi, my name is Brianna, and I am an AI avatar. On behalf of HiQ speakers, I am here today to introduce futurist Jim Carroll. Jim is one of the world's leading international global futurists. Based in Toronto, Canada, he has shared his insight with NASA, Disney, and the World Bank. He is here today to share a short message with you as to what you should be thinking about when it comes to the fastest moving topic in the world today: artificial intelligence. Hi, Jim. How are you today?
I'm very good, Brianna, but shouldn't you be introducing yourself with a little bit of Spanish for the audience that we're trying to reach here?
Oh, sí, eso tendría sentido. Hola, mi nombre es Brianna y soy un avatar de AI. En nombre de HiQ Speakers, estoy aquí para presentarles al futurista Jim Carroll. Jim es uno de los futuristas globales más importantes del mundo. Con sede en Toronto, Canadá, ha compartido sus conocimientos con la NASA, Disney y el Banco Mundial. Está aquí hoy para compartir un breve mensaje sobre lo que deberían pensar cuando se trata del tema que más rápidamente avanza en el mundo hoy en día: la inteligencia artificial. Hola, Jim. ¿Cómo estás hoy?
Thanks, Brianna. Growing up and living in Canada, I understand what it's like to live in a world of multiple languages. Look, I'm a futurist, and I spend much of my time, in my spaceship, talking about the future, talking about trends, talking about what is going to come next. And obviously, in 2023, AI is the topic on the mind of everyone. So I've been doing a tremendous number of keynotes, presentations, leadership meetings around the topic of artificial intelligence. And I'm thrilled to talk to you through the folks at HiQ Speakers, who, as you know, is one of the leading speaker bureaus in South America and Latin America, as you explore your opportunities to understand what is really happening with this technology. And certainly this is a fast-moving technology. There is so much going on. And you need to understand it extends beyond what you are seeing with things like ChatGPT. It's extending into machine intelligence, machine vision, robotics, cobotics, and so much more. It is moving at a staggering pace. This graph captures it all, putting in perspective the number of research papers having to do with artificial intelligence simply exponentiating. Here's another article which really puts it in perspective. You don't need to understand how AI works to understand its implications, but you need to understand how quickly it is evolving. You take a look at this. 20 years ago, AIs used something called parameters, and 20 years ago, 60,000 parameters. GPT-2, which came from OpenAI, it had 110 million parameters. When GPT-3 came out, 175 billion. They're now talking models that will have parameters that are up to 10 trillion parameters. You don't need to understand what this means. You need to understand we are in the midst of a period of absolute exponentiation in terms of the sophistication of this technology. There is so much happening. It's happening so quickly that you are going to witness more change in your world in the next few years than you have seen in the last 20 years. But you need to understand the strategic implications of what is occurring here. You need a strategic clarity on what is unfolding. That can be a challenge because you're seeing grandiose statements such as the development of AI is as fundamental as the creation of the microprocessor, the personal computer, the internet, the mobile phone. It's going to change the way that people work and learn and travel, get healthcare, and communicate with each other. This much is true. But what is also true is this: AI is about to change the world. The problem is no one's quite sure how, because there's so much going on. It has so many implications. This is like the arrival of the internet in the 1990s, and it had a profound impact over the next 20 years. AI is going to do the same thing, except it's going to do it in a shorter time span. What I always like to do with my clients is to put it in perspective on what I call the Gartner hype cycle. And they've explained that any technology that comes to our world, we have the trigger. We hit the peak of inflated expectations. We get excited about it. We hit the trough of disillusionment because, the hype is over. Eventually we figure it out and we hit the plateau of productivity. And artificial intelligence is many different things. And all of those aspects of artificial intelligence are at different places on the Gartner hype cycle. Right now, with a lot of it, we're on the peak of inflated expectations. But in the long term, it's going to have massive strategic, transformative, disruptive implications on every single business. It's also important to understand what is really going on because there's so much happening, it can be staggering to try to make sense. So here's a little bit of insight into what is happening. Number one, we've got the search engine war. So that's where Google with Bard and Microsoft with Bing and ChatGPT, they're all competing against each other. And what it means is the way you search for information in the future is going to change. What is also happening is the emergence of what we call text-to-image generators. These are tools which let us generate magical images simply by typing in a prompt. What is occurring is the integration of a lot of AI technologies into existing product lines. So for example, Adobe with Photoshop has introduced what they call generative fill. And that takes the work that you're doing in Photoshop and makes it even more magical because it will fill in areas based upon its interpretation of the photo. Then there's what's happening with ERP software, the big, massive corporate software systems such as from SAP, which are the engine for productivity for so many large organizations. SAP, Oracle, everyone else is integrating AI into their entire product line. And then there's startup land. Look, I've been tracking a website called AI Top Tools. When they began, they had 1,000 tools. Weeks later, they had 2,000 tools, and they had 3,000. They've given up. They just now have more than 10,000 tools, and there are tools for everything. Go and visit it, and you'll get a sense of just how quickly AI is evolving as a creativity engine and the emergence of new companies. And look, I estimate if you signed up to every single one of the tools on AI Top Tools, you'd be spending $190,000 a month. But AI is so much more than that. It's at the heart of a lot of autonomous vehicle and other autonomous technology. It's at the heart of what we call digital twin technology, which is an aspect of virtualization and augmented reality, which is changing entire industries from healthcare to manufacturing to just about everything else. And it involves a lot of analytical engines. So if we look at the way it's already being used in the world of insurance, absolutely staggering trends. And this is what I'm talking about in Houston when I'm meeting with 60 CEOs later this week to talk about the future of AI and what we can expect as we go forward into a faster future. I'm putting all of this into the umbrella of what I call the AI megatrends, the massive, transformative, disruptive trends which are shaping our world and for which you need strategic clarity on what is happening, what does it mean, how is it going to shape your future, and how can you turn it into an opportunity and not just a threat.
Thanks, Jim. That all sounds absolutely fascinating and is precisely the type of information that organizations need today. How can they learn more about bringing you in for a leadership or association meeting? Gracias, Jim. Todo eso suena absolutamente fascinante y es precisamente el tipo de información que las organizaciones necesitan hoy en día. ¿Cómo pueden aprender más sobre cómo invitarlo a una reunión de liderazgo o asociación?
Contact the folks at HiQ Speakers. Look, I've spoken to NASA, I've spoken to the World Bank, I've spoken to Pfizer, I've spoken to Volvo, I've spoken to Mercedes, I've spoken to hundreds of leading organizations around the world. I've been sharing my insight on what comes next and what you need to do about it. Reach out to the team at HiQ Speakers and we can explore how I can provide you strategic clarity on the AI megatrends and what you need to do to align to a world in which the future belongs to those who are fast. I'm futurist Jim Carroll.